Yo, what's good, everyone? Welcome back. I hope you all are having a good day. So last night, GGG revealed the new update for 327, and if you were checking out live on Twitch, we was watching it over there. But I thought I would come back around, and then we're gonna go over everything. We're gonna check it all out again. And this time I can pause the video. We can talk a little bit about some stuff. And yeah, we just get through it. And then afterwards, we'll check out the patch notes to see what actually changed. And besides that, I hope you all have a good day. Like, comment, subscribe, all the good jazz, and let's get right into it.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Rogers from Grinding Gear Games, and welcome to GGG Live. Today we're going to show you an exclusive reveal of Path of Exile Keepers of the Flame, which is coming out 1 week from now on October the 31st. Twitch drops are enabled on today's live stream, so you'll be able to claim your Hive-born crawler pet by following the instructions below. Without further ado, let's roll the trailer for Path of Exile Keepers of the Flame.
We, the Keepers of the Flame, serve the will of the Dreamer.
This right here in PoE2, there is some veils that went into a mountain to got the purple flame, if I remember correctly. That's how the lore goes. And this kind of gives me like prequel vibes to that, right? If that makes sense.
Instructions whispered from beyond the wall of sleep. But now, the Hiveborn are here, on Rayclast, and they seek to poison our world. We must close their breaches, destroy their hives, slay their breach lords.
This is just looking phenomenal. It's just way more fresh, right? Like it's way more up to par with a lot of other content in the game.
They brought this war to our world, but we shall end it, whatever it takes.
This right here is crazy. Async.
As you can see, this expansion is a true sequel to the Breach League, first introduced to the game in 2016. We felt like it was time to progress the story of Breach, bringing with it a slew of new updates to the base game. In today's stream, we'll take you on a deep dive into Path of Exile Keepers of the Flame, beginning with the League mechanic, covering all the fearsome challenges it presents, and the new twisted ways you'll be able to empower your character. After that, we'll dive into the new ascendancy options possible with Bloodline classes. Then we'll cover the much anticipated and synchronous trade system coming to Path of Exile 1. Afterwards, move into the new Uber Pinnacle bosses, how to access them, and some new drops worthy of the added difficulty. Finally, we'll cover some notable quality of life improvements before moving on to our supporter packs and challenge rewards. We'll then have a live Q&A session where Ziggy D will ask Path of Exile's game directors Mark and myself your questions from Twitch chat. And after the live stream, we'll drop the full patch notes at 11 AM New Zealand time or 3 PM Pacific. So let's get started. I'll hand things over to Mark to introduce the new league.
Hi, I'm Mark Roberts, Game Director on Path of Exile. Breach is a beloved league that has had an iconic history in PoE. We intend to honor that legacy with our first ever sequel league, Keepers of the Flame. This develops every aspect of Breach, adding new layers to discover. Richer lore, scarier bosses, and entirely new mechanics. That said, this is still Breach, so you will still be opening breaches and slaying hordes of otherworldly monsters. The Breach Lords have found the means to stabilize the connection between their realm and Rayclast. Now, with their grip tightening, we learn their true goal in our world: conquest. The threat they pose has now escalated to home soil. On the coast in Act 1, you'll encounter Aelith, the founder of the Keepers of the Flame. This is a monastic order sworn to defend Rayclast from the Breach Lords. The exit to the Mudflats has been barricaded by Hiveborn, Breach monsters that are working to claim every inch of Rayclast. Aelith can grant you a small spark of the power of the Flame, allowing you to blast away their barricade and move onwards. Once you enter the Mudflats, you'll find it infested with Breach monsters. They appear to be constructing a kind of hive, creating strange shapes and structures that absolutely don't belong. Time to purge them with fire. Aelith needs you to protect her as she empowers the Flame to do so. Hold off the assault long enough, and she'll be able to demolish the hive with cleansing flame. In other areas, the gap between worlds is strained.
The new breach hands are looking
You'll
so
find a
nice.
familiar
Oh
encounter
my
with a
god.
new twist. A massive breach hand sunders the space between dimensions, and touching it will open an unstable breach, causing monsters to flood in. If you can slaughter them quickly enough, you can stabilize the breach. This brazen action can draw the attention of Vroon, Marshal of Zesht, who will do everything it can to stop you. Defeating this boss will permanently seal the breach, severing another connection between the Breach Lord's world and Rayclast. These stabilized breaches are similar to what a breach once was, but with upgraded monsters, a success condition to shoot for, UI tracking to keep the player informed of their progress through the encounter, and satisfying
Wonder what the
feedback
green
to
head
complete
is for up here.
We've taken all the lessons we've learned since the release of Breach 9 years ago and improved upon it in every way we can. However, much of the joy of Breach came from its simplicity.
Yes.
While we want to modernize
Indeed.
the mechanic, we don't want to undermine the core experience. You're still mostly just slaughtering hordes of enemies in a circle. Finally, in endgame areas you might run into breach constructions that have been left unopposed for too long, and have grown into their full twisted glory. Breach hives. Towering flesh-crafted cities in the sky. These are the visions of the Breach Lords made real in Rayclast, teeming with breach monsters. You must raid and destroy these cities with the help of Aelith and her flame. In some of these hives, you may even encounter some of the Breach Lords themselves, who will not be happy you're intruding on their planned conquest.
So
Now, let's talk loot.
I think this was a really good idea, right? Because certainly there are mechanics within PoE 1 that are very, very old, and even though the mechanics are incredibly good or exceptionally well thought out, the visuals are maybe a little bit on the older side, like certain monster models or stuff like that, right? And honestly, peppering it up like this and giving new life to a mechanic that is beloved by a lot of people, I think personally is a really good choice. And I do see in the future that they do that with a couple of things. Stuff like Delirium, making the map look kind of trash, is one of the things I would love to see sometime down the line, that they make like a 2.0 version that's just way more appealing in the looks and stuff. That would be super cool. There is a couple other mechanics that might benefit from this type of update, I would say, just to make them fall better in line with other stuff that people play, right? And I personally played Breach multiple leagues, right? So that's usually my go-to way to level up for the most part, is just doing breaches, because it's a very simple mechanic where you can just spawn a lot of monsters per map, and the more monster you kill, the more experience you get, right? So it's just a brilliant mechanic like that. And I feel like there's multiple mechanics in PoE1 that are brilliant like this, but may look a little bit on the older side. Now, I personally don't mind it. It is looking a little bit older, but I also appreciate when you go back and you shine the shoes to match the talks, right? Like, if you know what I mean, like that. If that makes sense, I like this idea. I'm a fan of
And
this.
you're unlikely to help entirely out of the goodness of your heart. Fortunately, Aelith has power and rewards aplenty, born of the Breach realm itself, to offer you for your assistance. Help her, and she'll bring you to the Monastery of the Keepers, the hallowed halls of her order. Here, you'll find the Genesis Tree,
It's
the
gonna
glowing
be
heart of the Keeper's power.
it's gonna be kind of interesting to see how strong this new crafting mechanic actually is.
On interacting with it, you'll find that this tree has a tree. That's right. It couldn't be Path of Exile unless the tree also had a tree. More importantly, the Genesis tree is an engine of unholy creation, and a profitable one.
Yo, by the way, right? If we look at this tree, which is very small in comparison to like the passive tree where you get your power from, or the Atlas passive tree where you get your juice from. If you look at this, it's fairly, like, it's way smaller than those. Yet this is still basically triple the amount of choices that you get in Diablo 4. You know what I mean? This is insane for like just a little update. You know what I mean? Like, oh, this is just our little 4-month update. What the hell?
As you complete breach encounters and work more with Aelith, you'll be able to grow the Genesis tree larger and larger, sprouting additional limbs. Each of these limbs, you'll notice, has their own inventories. These can be used for an unusual method of crafting new items. With this system, you'll be able to grow currency, uniques, equipment, and a new kind of otherworldly item, grafts. Grafts are breach hands grown directly from the Genesis tree, born of the same flesh and sinew as the invading monsters. These fuse directly to your body, in a completely safe process. Don't worry about it. With grafts, you can harness the power of the breach. Some provide passive benefits like this, or this, but they can also grant a wide selection of powerful skills. These graft skills can provide a flexible way to fill gaps in your build, offering everything from damage to potent defensive buffs and crowd control. For example, the Battering All graft will call massive arms to erupt from the earth, stunning all those they hit. For some additional pack clearing power, you could consider the Squalling Tool graft. When commanded, this graft will cast Dance in the White, creating a deadly ice tornado, which aggressively seeks enemies and fires off bursts of ricocheting projectiles when you critically strike with skills. For some further utility and a useful buff, try out the Storming Ash graft. This can be commanded to call down a ring of bolts from the sky that will leave behind the new Radiant Ground. Radiant Ground grants a potent damage buff to allies standing within it and makes their hit damage lucky. If you're simply after raw damage, look no further than the Erupting Zoth graft, which causes massive eruptions of fire where you command, which then re-erupt when you Warcry. There are a total of 16 different graft types you can grow, each with their own skill. You can even unlock a second graft slot as you progress through Aelith's questline, so feel free to mix and match Flesh Zone horrors to your heart.
I have a feeling though, we're gonna have a couple of broken builds this week. I'm not gonna lie.
They are also your means of feeding the Genesis tree, which needs constant supplies of graft blood to grow anything useful. You can do this by defeating breach monsters, which will leave behind blood that your graft will automatically collect. When you feed this blood to the tree, your allocated passives will be put to work. This section of the Genesis tree can be used to grow new grafts for you, which the Genesis tree will then birth in a gruesome display. Basic passives on the tree might increase item rarity of birthed grafts, or the chance to birth additional grafts. These passives can target specific types of grafts.
Now,
And this
so the real question here is how strong is this system in comparison to King's March, right? Because King's March is already somewhat of a time sink and goal sink that you have to spend a significant amount of spare time keeping up. Whereas I'm not sure how much time do we have to spend here, or if it's something you can like come back once a day roughly and you just have a bunch and you just do all your stuff. We'll just have to kind of like wait and see how exactly this unfolds.
Random amount of quality. Quality improves the amount of blood that can be stored by your grafts. This section of the Genesis tree births currency items. Basic passives can result in more or better currency. Allocate this passive to sometimes cause a shower of currency to burst forth from the flesh of the tree. Yeah, it's a bit gross, but working with the organic matter of a bunch of dead otherworldly creatures was never going to be a clean affair. Grafts themselves are born of a different world, so are unmodifiable by most currencies. However, with this passive, the Genesis tree can occasionally grow fleshy mockeries of currency orbs. These function like augmentation orbs, regal orbs, or exalted orbs, but they work on your grafts instead of normal gear. Yep, it's graft crafting. Allocating this passive can
One sec, let me
foul
just,
born
I
currencies.
need to see the item again, please.
Fleshy mockeries of currency orbs. These function like augmentation orbs, regal orbs, or exalted orbs, but they work on your grafts instead of normal gear. Yep, it's graft crafting.
11 minion damage, 37% chance to find lavish womb gifts. Okay. Skill used by graft have a 26% increased cooldown recovery rate. Okay. Skill used by graft have a 30% of lightning damage as chaos damage. And it has lightning damage and a skill on there as well. Very interesting. I wonder how many mods they can hold.
Allocating this passive can result in foul-born currencies. This foul-born exalted orb, for instance, behaves as a normal exalted orb, except it guarantees a higher tier modifier. By locking out a large portion of the lower roll,
Oh, so
a normal
basically
exalted orb
tiered
will
currency.
The largest section of the Genesis tree is used to grow rare equipment items. For these, you have a lot of agency to influence the types and modifiers on your grown item. For example, you can specifically target boots with a dexterity requirement, with an increased chance for speed modifiers, and reduced chance for cold modifiers. Or maybe you'd prefer to look for a two-handed axe with increased chance for physical modifiers. This section of the tree is for growing unique items. Similar to the equipment section, there are passives that let you target growing specific types of uniques or rarer uniques. The process of growth is not always a perfect one, however, and can result in some defects. This passive can result in birth uniques becoming foul-born, which mutates one of the existing modifiers on the item into a new one, resulting in some interesting new ways to use that unique. For example, this foul-born quill rain no longer has increased projectile speed, but instead has increased area of effect. Another foul-born quill rain could replace the mana gained on hit with the much more powerful modifier where insufficient mana doesn't prevent your bow attacks. Here are some other examples.
Oh my god. That is kind of insane. 63 chaos res is kind of wild. Elemental Overlord. I'm not entirely sure what that is. I have a feeling, as I said, we're gonna have some slightly broken builds this go around.
Modifiers mutated. I'm sure you'll come up with some extremely powerful uses for these. We'll leave it up to you to discover what this mysterious part of the Genesis tree can grow. So, ultimately, you'll be slaying masses of breach monsters, harvesting blood with the aid of your grafts, feeding that to the Genesis tree, growing some items and better grafts, and back again to the slaughter. As with all our challenge leagues, this league will come with a set of 40 challenges to pursue, and completing them will award you with the Keeper of
the Flame. Now, it's not a bad outfit. Is it super sick? It's not bad. It's just not. I kind of like the previous league, the one we had in 326. That one was insane with the purple flames coming off of it and whatnot. But this is still pretty fucking sick. It's a little bit more in the toned down, like regular type armor situation, which I can appreciate that too. I'm wondering a little bit if we are getting a quarterstave as well, or if it's like just the outfit itself. But anyhow, I feel like this fits really well into PoE 2, more so than PoE 1 though.
The Flame armor set, allowing you to truly embrace becoming a monk and worshipping the Dreamer. Now, graph skills won't be the only new tools to play with. In 327, we're also adding a collection of new skill and support gems. Let's go over them now. Kinetic Rain is a new wand attack, which covers the ground in unstable kinetic energy. These hazards collapse at the slightest touch, releasing their energies into any unfortunate soul who happens to be standing on them. With enough projectiles and area of effect, an enterprising exile could carpet the world in dangerous kinetic force. Wall of Force creates a barrier of kinetic power, causing allied projectiles to ricochet towards targets automatically. Drop one behind a boss and redirect the bolts of your armies. I'm sure you'll find ways to break this one.
So,
Conflagration is a new
I don't know, man.
which rains down fiery bolts from above that stick into the ground and pulse as you approach. Once you get close enough, these bolts detonate.
This
causing
could be
ravages
good
of
with
bolts.
ballistas, right?
These bolts chain react, allowing you to create fields of incendiary destruction. Thunderstorm is a bow attack, which creates a whirling storm of wind.
This
and
is
lightning
so
that
cool.
rains. While you're within the storm, it will rapidly grow, until it becomes violently thunderous with lightning-infused clouds. At this point, leaving the storm will cause it to detonate, dealing damage to everything within and releasing a flurry of tornadoes in all directions. Attacking with Kinetic Fusillade will create hovering orbs of energy. These linger for a few moments above you, before zipping off to nearby targets, chaining between them, then detonating. Living Lightning support will bring to life living sparks of energy, elemental minions that zap through packs of enemies with speed and ease. Use these alongside your spellcasting to augment your pack clearing abilities, or find whatever means possible to cover the world in living sparks of ruin. Windburst support unleashes chaotic tornadoes as you attack, which ricochet around wildly and quickly. These deal moderate damage as they travel, but will explode into a highly damaging burst when they expire. So it's a choice between scaling their duration up to get better coverage, or down to access the burst more quickly. Kinetic Instability is a support gem to go along with the new wand attacks, that causes enemies slain to leave behind those same orbs of shimmering energy that Kinetic Rain creates. One might ponder just how many orbs you can create if you were to use both. In 327, exiles will be able to absorb the power of some of the bosses they defeat. These take the form of new Ascendancy class options, called Bloodlines.
And we get new wand bases, so
Character customization in the endgame.
there is a lot of
Ascendancy classes resources that are unlocked by defeating specific endgame bosses. They are allocated with your normal ascendancy points, and you'll have to choose how many of your points go into the original ascendancy and how many into your bloodline class. This means there is a nigh limitless ability to mix and match here, as you could choose to invest just a couple points into your bloodline or max it out, and you could take any bloodline with any base ascendancy class that you see fit. To unlock your bloodline, hunt down the endgame boss whose power you desire and defeat them, or have a friend help and claim the power for your own. There are 10 bloodline classes to discover. Bosses who offer this power are typically associated with past leagues, giving additional reasons to engage with that league content. Let's run over a few examples.
Please don't let the Sanctum one be the best one. I promise I'm gonna be mad if that's that. I do not want to do a run of Sanctum by any means. Ever. So please don't make that the best fucking bloodline. And we all know the GGG has like a secret crush on fucking Sanctum, so this could be good or bad. But the fact that you can pick any bloodline with any ascendancy makes up for every ascendancy having like potentially a bad point, or maybe even 2 or 3 bad points that you wouldn't really want to take because they don't provide the build that you're currently playing with like enough of a, like you might take them because there's no other options, but now that you have 10 different ascendancies to pick from with that one, you might find that there is other ascendancy points that are way more valuable in terms of safety or power for that specific ascension you're now playing, right? Like I can see possibilities where you mix and match and there's like some crazy outcomes. I could definitely see that happening. And I also think that this might help out some of the ascendancies which have been at the lower end when it comes to being played over the past couple of leagues. There is a couple that's been like at the very low end of playability. Like if you go to PoE Ninja, you can check how many people are playing each ascendancy, and there is a couple that's just been at the low end for a while. Maybe, just maybe, this will bring up a lot of the bottom towards the middle, and yeah, man, I'm looking forward to this shit. It's gonna be interesting to see which one is actually gonna be the best. I really don't want to do the Trimaster either.
Priest of Yalmak lets you use Val skills much more often, while Priest of Kopek makes it harder to build up Val skills, but makes them far more powerful. Or take Corruption's Embrace, which grants more Val Keystone powers the more corrupted items you have equipped. The Ashabi bloodline can be gained by, you guessed it, defeating Ashabi. Her abilities are drawn from the 3 types of life force that manifest within as Marian spirits. The Wild Bear rewards you with adrenaline for generating rage. The Vivid Cat gives your elusive buffs a chance to refresh, as well as making you more stealthy while elusive. The Primal Owl allows your unleashed spells to reoccur many additional times, and get stronger for each time they reoccur. The Nameless bloodline comes from the King in the Mists. Be forewarned, his menacing power comes at a great cost. With the Unseen Hand, you can equip a 3rd ring, but you have to decide if that comes at the expense of having no amulet, no belt, or no flasks. Unlight Silhouette adds a hefty life cost to all your spells, but they deal additional chaos damage based on the amount of life spent. Of course, there is more to come. What powers might you glean from delving deep underneath Rayclass to fight all the Crystal King? What secrets can you learn from Lycia, Herald of the Scourge, waiting at the end of the Forbidden Sanctum? As you can imagine, there are countless possible combinations with the system. You could be a Slayer that embraces corruption and vile power, or perhaps you'll play an Occultist that doubles down on their dark power by integrating the Nameless bloodline. We are excited to see what crazy and interesting builds players come up with. In the most recent Path of Exile 2 expansion, the Third Edict, we introduced a much anticipated feature, fully asynchronous trade.
Oh yes, and was
It
that
a
the best?
fantastic success.
It was.
So now we're excited to announce that we'll also be adding this feature into Path of Exile 1. When you reach Act 6, you'll be able to find Faustus in Lion Eye's watch. Previously, he just operated the currency exchange. Now, he will also act as a steward for your merchants tabs. These are where you can place items for sale, for direct and instant purchase by other players even when you're not online.
Hell yeah.
To list an item, simply place it in the tab and select a currency and an amount. Once listed, other players will be able to find the item by searching for it via the trade website or the new in-game market search. To purchase something for yourself, it's as easy as hitting this button, which will teleport you to the seller's hideout, where you can view their merchants tabs, buy the item, and also view the rest of their wares in case something else catches your eye. Every purchase costs a small fee of gold, as Faustus takes his cut. To account for this further drain on gold, acquisition and cost balance elsewhere in the game has been adjusted.
It's gonna be interesting.
Sell successfully, will have your profits collected here, in a separate tab to claim at your leisure. To be clear,
It will be interesting to see if how the market is gonna adjust to this in terms of pricing, and it also is kind of interesting to see how the scamming situation is going to develop with the system in PoE 1 with a lot more potential for people to scam each other. I still think they need to make it so you can have like a tab and you can put a certain price on that tab, and then everything within that tab has that certain price. Just to kind of like prevent this with people like putting different prices on the same items, to kind of like try and get you to overpay for something, right? A good example of this in PoE 2, for instance, is the heavy belts that can get chanced into a headhunter. Let's say they are worth 40 exalt. Then people will put them up for 40 exalt, and then let's say like there is 20 belts, and out of the 20, 15 of them is the right price at 40 exalt or whatever, right? And then the last 5 is like 40 divine, 40 perfect exalts, 40 perfect chaos, 40 whatever, right? And I hope they make it so we can do like a whole tab, put it at a price, so that way you know when you're looking at it, okay, this is priced to this number. I can spam click everything within this window, and I know I'm not gonna get screwed over. But yeah, we'll just have to wait and see, man.
previous means of trading, such as via pre-existing premium stash tabs and the website, will still function just as before. Merchants tabs and the asynchronous trading that comes with them are an entirely additive feature on top of the already existing methods to trade. You might find yourself needing the trade system to buy some upgrades, because this update also introduces 3 new Uber Pinnacle boss fights. These encounters are manifested from the memories of Zana, and in her long torment, they have festered into something truly deadly.
Now this is gonna be interesting.
These fights offer an imposing challenge.
Because these fights were a walk in the park last league, and now I think they're gonna be an actual fucking challenge.
Uber Pinnacle fights, you'll need to discover fragments dropped by tier 17 map bosses. Each attempt at the new Uber Pinnacle fights will require 5 of these. Let's dig into some of the challenges you'll need to face in these new Uber versions. In the original incarnation of Neglect fight, the statues can be used to block the laser beams to hide behind, giving you an opportunity to avoid being shocked, frozen, or killed. When you run near these statues, they activate and allow you to reposition them. While activated, they will not stop the lasers, meaning you want to position them well, then avoid them. However, in the Uber version of this fight, instead of being a safe haven, the statues will refract the laser beams, causing a ruckus of energy to cover the arena. Activating them will prevent the refraction, so unlike the base fight, where you want to position them well and then avoid them,
Oh, this is so sketchy looking, man.
but then you have to deal with their assault of attacks. While fighting the incarnation of fear, these fiery orbs will slowly clutter up the arena, locking off portions of it until you bait the boss into detonating them himself with his thrown spear.
This is so tough, man.
Uberified, these orbs are attached by a flaming leash to the boss, rotating around him constantly. More and more will spawn as the fight goes on, making it even more imperative that you clean them up by cleverly using the boss's abilities against him. Normally in the incarnation of Dread fight, during the bullet hell phase, you have to acquire a red rose, run it to the boss, then collect a blue rose, doing the same, causing it to get heavy stunned and interrupting its mechanic. In the Uber version, you have to do the same, but in order to get the blue rose, you have to defeat the incarnation of neglect.
This is insane.
Rose, you have to defeat the incarnation of fear.
So you have to fight all three at the same time.
Given the difficulty of these bosses, their reward should be worth your while. Let's take a look at some. From the Uber incarnation of neglect fight, we have Bitter Instinct, a spiky shield that turns retaliatory strikes into preemptive ones, making it just a matter of time before the long arm of justice crushes your foes. Alternatively, you might find Festering Resentment, a poisoned blade with an unending supply of toxins built into the hilt. These toxins are put to good use, causing every spell you trigger to be capable of poisoning with all damage it deals, enabling a truly crazy trigger-centric poison ruckus. And from the Uber incarnation of Dread, the Hallowed Monarch, a counterpart to the Dark Monarch, which focuses more heavily on investing into one or a few minions, rather than growing your hordes to massive proportions. Storm Rayclast with your chosen
Wow, it's Headhunter for a minion, bro.
as you go.
Are you kidding me?
We've got
That's
a
kinda
number of
insane,
variety of
no?
light changes to bring to 327 as well. Many of which you may have seen already in some of our pre-livestream teasers, but for those who haven't, Heist is a mechanic which has long frustrated some players who may otherwise have been interested in the rewards it has to offer, but have no desire to grind through the early progress of finding and running low-level contracts to get all of the rogues to their maximum level.
Yeah, it's what held me back from doing it too.
327, Heist rogues will automatically begin at maximum level, so you can start your dubious criminal career without all the busy work. Points invested into your Atlas passive tree will now be refundable with gold. Just speak to Kerak to do so. For players who love jumping between strategies, there's also an option to instantly refund your entire tree, which of course can now also be done with your regular passive tree as well. Now you can make all your decisions with no regrets. Well, maybe some regrets. You no longer need to purchase bestiary orbs. You can now itemize beasts.
This is a brilliant one,
directly from your bestiary.
just because of how much time this saves.
From late Act 1, you can now mass identify your items at an NPC in every town, and from Helena in your hideout. This does not require Scrolls of Wisdom at all. While
That
using
is such a
Alteration,
welcome upgrade
you
too.
can now hold Alt to swap
This
using an augmentation orb.
is insane. You don't even understand how annoying this is to try and roll a base for your recombinator, and then you use your augmentation, right? And then you hit a blue item, and then it turns out it has one affix, and then you now had to or beforehand you had to basically unclick this one, then click the other one, then click it to add another suffix, then unclick that, then click this, and then click it again because you didn't get the one that you wanted. Now you just hold down Alt, which I already do every time I spam these to see the current tiers, and it'll just automatically change, that is fucking brilliant. The amount of time you're gonna save on this is incredible.
Opening a blight chest will now open.
This
all
is
other
so
blight
good too.
chests near it. Rogue's disenchanting services can now be accessed.
That
in
is
towns
really
and
good too.
islands. Kerak missions now have a handy icon to show.
That's
us
okay,
what
but
mission they are. Holding down control and
this
right-clicking
is
on stack discs
insane.
will now continuously open them to your inventory, notifying you in chat what the outcome is. If you
The
still
time
want to
that
open them
took
direct to the
before.
ground, to let your loot filter provide a dose of dopamine, you can still do that too by also holding shift.
Oh,
Val orbs can be used on monsters encased in essences, to the same effect that remnants of corruption have.
that's
When
nice.
multiple skill gems are ready to level at the same time,
This is
you'll
also
now be able
such
to
a
click this
nice
button to
little.
level them all up at once.
Yep.
Next up, we're going to be talking about our new League supporter packs. Today, we're launching 2 new series of supporter packs. The Champion of Theopolis and the Verdant Magus pack.
This pack is insane.
Each tier contains the pack's full face value in points, alongside several exclusive microtransactions. As always, the microtransactions in these packs are purely cosmetic and do not affect your character's power or progression in any way. The Champion of Theopolis series of supporter packs contains 6 exclusive microtransactions. Manifest a champion's ferocity, as the Lion's Might unique finisher effect rips your enemies to shreds.
That's kind of cool looking.
Open the Champion of Theopolis portal to end your crusade through maps in the style
That's
expected
okay.
of a true victor of the arena.
Not really my style.
Defeat your enemies like a true gladiator, wearing the Grand Champion of Theopolis armor set. The armor
guess it's
awarded
okay.
only to the most elite warriors of the Grand Arena. Take charge of the situation and storm into combat with the Flaming Minotaur's Quicksilver Flask effect.
The Champion's Podium map device.
The map device is kind of sick
glory
though.
you've achieved as you activate.
Ascend the stairs and stand atop the platform as you enter your map.
I'm not gonna lie, this map device with this portal would fit the previous hideout. The god thing hideout where you could like float around in heaven. This would fit that outfit so good.
Each flame surrounding the platform represents a remaining use on your portal. The burden-back belly goat carries
This,
all
however, is
supplies
kinda sick.
necessary for a campsite as he travels behind you in battle. When placed in a hideout, instead of roaming around like your other pets, their supplies are deployed, creating a small camp where you can access your stash and providing a place to take a load off while you rest next to the campfire. The Verdant Magus series contains 6 exclusive microtransactions.
This though, this is so
Having
insanely
sales to sell
sick.
your items on your behalf
I
is
love
great
it.
and all, but sometimes you just want to feel a little bit more shady about your dealings. The back alley trader hideout decoration is more secretive with your trades, creating distance between you and your customers.
That's
Note
so
that until
cool.
327 is released, this back alley trader will only serve as your currency exchange. Once it's out, it will be updated to have the new managed shop option to also facilitate your trades. The Verdant Wayfinder pet is
That
a
is
loyal companion to
pretty
any
cool.
Master Magus. As you approach waypoints, it envelops them with its vines, guiding you throughout Rayclast. Control Earth and Nature.
This is
Essence
so
the
good
Verdant Magus
looking.
armor set envelops you in the ancient
Groot
world now
meets
lost to time.
PoE.
There's also a matching back attachment included.
Oh, it's so good.
Remnants of the forest ripple out from within you with the Verdant Magus level up effect equipped, restoring life to the corrupted land. Call on an ancient golem.
I don't know what it is
to
about
use the
green and
power
purple,
safe
but it
mission
just
for you to
goes
retreat
so
through
well
the
together.
Arcane Golem portal. As a supreme Verdant Magus, you can travel to your Arcane Isle.
This hideout is so sick.
Held together by ancient magic passed
Oh,
down between elite mages. Stand atop your tower and relish the great heights you've reached.
Bro,
with those who have
this is
never
so cool.
These
What?
packs are now available for purchase on both PC and console, and will remain so during Path of Exile, Keepers of the Flame. Additionally, any microtransactions from these supporter packs will be made available for use in Path of Exile 2. Meanwhile, the Crypt Keeper and Frisian Magistrate packs leave the store forever at the launch of the Keepers of the Flame League, so now's your last chance to purchase them. Thank you so much for your ongoing support.
Hell yeah, man. I can appreciate that, you know what I mean? Because it's just, there's so much stuff there. There's so much stuff in this update. Like, just all kinds of fucking shit. It's kind of insane. Okay, let's go. Let's go through some of the patch notes. We're not going to go over everything here because some of it we just saw in the video, right? So we're just going to, basically, we're going to take like a look at some of the changes that's in here, right? Wait a second. Let's just Keepers of the Flame Challenge League. Mentioning this. Right. This is what we already know. Oh, we know this. Yeah, we are getting new want bases and a new uniques as well, so that's kind of sick. Looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to see what exactly these rings do, right? Because that seems like it's the new breach rings, but I'm not entirely sure. We're getting new divination cards. We're getting a bunch of new orbs to craft the graphs with. We already saw that. We're getting a synchronous trade. We saw that. We saw all this. We saw all of that. Oh, okay. So, remnants of corruption are gone, and anyone left over will be turned into value ups. Okay, that's fair. It's also, I think that's way better, honestly. Just using the value ups instead of having a separate currency just for corrupting essences. Oh, they added a new fragment part, a new tab for the fragments that's gonna hold the syndicate medallions and all flame members. Nice. That's okay. That's cool. I am looking forward to them adding that to for incubators, because incubators has been kind of annoying. We know that. We know that. Okay, all good here. Bloodlines. These are secondary ascendancy classes that are unlocked on a character-by-character basis through defeating specific in-game bosses. Bloodline classes can be paired with ascendancy class and are allocated with normal ascendancy passives, passive skill points. You can decide how many points you want to allocate in your original class and how many you want to allocate in your new bloodline. There are 10 there are 10 bloodline classes to discover, and to unlock your bloodline, hunt down the endgame boss whose power you desire. Defeat them and claim the power for yourself. Alright. I do wish they had named the bosses, so we had like somewhat of an idea where to go to look for them. Okay, let's see. Introduced Lonely, Revenant, Traumatic, Fragments, which can be used to access the new Uber versions. Oh, right. The new Sana bosses. Yes, we know that. The Feared Maven invitation now requires series and Incarnation of Dread to be witnessed instead of Chaula and Atsiri? What? Wait, so hold on. So they're taking out Chaula and Atsiri from the Feared invitation, and now we have to fight Ceres and Incarnation of Dread. And wasn't Incarnation of Dread accompanied by the two other incarnations? So it's Cortex Shaper, Elder, Incarnation of Dread series, all in the Maven Arena. That seems fucking sketch. Oh my god, that seems very, very hard. I am kind of looking forward to see what this is like, and if this will even. I'm looking forward to see if this will, how this will play out in the next gauntlet. If this is gonna be like in the next gauntlet. Oh my god. If this is gonna be so toxic. Oh man. On softcore, I don't think I think you can like build out enough power to where you're probably gonna be able to like just slap them around, even if you do full like all release at once. But in freaking hardcore, man, and then with gauntlet mods. Well, I know one streamer who is clapping his hands and smiling big time right now. Mr. Zizarin himself, because this will fucking change up the gauntlet in the future if this stays. If you have to do... Jesus, serious, it's such a fucked fight. For me personally, this is one of the hardest fights in the game, I think. I have Maven down, I have more or less. I have like the Exarch, I can do that. I can do like Eater, I could do Cortex, I can do like all those, right? Like that's not Shaper, Elder, all that. But the serious fight for me, for some reason, is just the hardest fight. I don't know why. There's just something about that that's really tough. I don't know if it's just me having not played enough or what, but that's so hard. Well, I haven't played the Incarnation of Dread that much, and when I played it this league, I never got to see the movesets really, because my build was just way too strong. So they just fell over immediately. I barely ever got to fight them. Maven Invitation, the Hidden, is now replaced with the Remembered, requiring witness of Courtyard of Wasting Chamber. Oh, so that's all three incarnations now. Oh, that seems kinda insane too. I like it though. That's actually a good change. I think that is a good change that provides a lot more challenge than what we previously had. So previously the hidden was all the breach dudes, right? Like the 4 breach dudes. Not Chaula, but the other 4, like Esh and Tool and what else they're called. And that was already like a decent fight, but if you had a strong character, that was super freaking easy. I have a feeling this is gonna be a little bit more harsh. But we'll just have to wait and see how that plays out, man. T17 map modifiers grants item rarity, item quantity, and pack size at values similar to red map modifiers, except in cases where the item rarity, item quantity, or pack size has been specifically augmented to be higher. Okay. Tier 17 can now be corrupted and have 8 modifiers. Oh. Interesting. Very interesting. Evolving Shrine from a Domination Scarab of Evolution now reduces the chance for monsters to upgrade rarity. Every time a monster upgrades rarity, it reduces the chance for monsters to upgrade rarity every time a monster upgrades rarity, but now has a base chance to be evolved. Oh. Okay. Okay. No, okay. Abyss Scarab no longer causes abyss areas to spawn hordes as they travel. Instead, now causes abyss pits in areas that do not lead to an abyssal depth to spawn an abyssal trove. Will spawn a minor Stitchin Spire. That's a fucking nerf to Abyss. Big time. Alright, so that's... I guess we're not playing Abyss this league, that's for sure. Additional bosses from Blight Scarab of Blooming no longer spawn extra monsters in their wave. Oh. Okay. Risk Scarab now has a limit of 1. What a nerf! Oh, what a nerf! Yo, that's a massive nerf. It's a 500% nerf. What the fuck? I think they should have put it at 2. I think they should have put it at 2. But okay, I guess that's fair. Following maps have been added to the Atlas: Academy, Arachnid Nest, Arena, Burial Chambers, Cell, Coves, Crater, Crimson Temple, Desert, Excavation, Factory, Forking River, Infested Valley, Lava Chambers, Lookout, Marshes, Mud Geyser? I'm not sure if that's right. Pit Port, Primordial Pool, Residence, Sulfur Vents, Summit, Ticket, and Volcano. Oh, Summit! We're gonna be able to get the hideout then. It's one of the last ones I'm missing. Oh shit. Good shit, good shit. Following maps have been removed: Ancient City, Armory, Basilica, Bog, Colonnade, Conservatory, Cold River, Coral Ruins, Crystal Ore, Dig, Dungeon, Geo, Forbidden Woods, Foundry, Laboratory. No! I love this map. Leyline is so good. No! one of my favorites. Well, Malformation, Peninsular, Pier. Oh, Pier is good too. Ooh, Scriptorium. That's kind of okay too. Siege, Sunken City, Terrence, Vault, and Wharf. There's a couple of good ones leaving. I guess we're getting a couple of good ones back. I don't fully know all of them, so. Map tiers and locations have been shuffled. Through the pin location for maps have not changed. Alright, okay. Most maps are now initially found at a different tier. Right, makes sense. Some of the map bosses are required to defeat to upgrade your Pantheon have changed as a result of these Atlas changes. Oh, that makes sense, fair enough. It's easy though, you just find the one you want, you search it on your Atlas, and it'll highlight the exact map you have to do when you search up the name of the boss you have to kill. So that's super easy to figure out. Crafting recipes have been shuffled, and ones that were previously unlocked in maps that have been removed from the Atlas are now found within other maps on the Atlas. Okay, so that's fair. Okay, let's see. Atlas passive changes. In the Keepers of the Flame League, Breach clusters has been removed from the Atlas. Beyond clusters have been moved from the left side of the Atlas to the right side. Okay. Straight and narrow notable has been reinstated in the Atlas tree for Keepers of the Flame. The guarded hordes notable in the Atlas tree no longer grants voltaxic sulfate veins and chests in your map have a 5% chance to double the sulfite. Oh. Okay. Well, was that really necessary? Was that really that good? Okay, I don't know. I don't think I've ever... Oh, that's not true. I have actually... Yeah, I use this. This is pretty good. Yeah, I remember now. This is actually pretty good. For like, as long as you use the delve mechanic, that it's pretty good. But besides that, it's kind of weird, right? It's not bad, right? Like, because you're still getting the ability to gain... fuck is it? I remember. I don't remember the thing. The one that you spend to buy the resonators and stuff. The mining byproduct notable Atlas no longer grants sulfite veins. Oh, I already read that. No. No longer grants sulfite veins and chests in your map have a 10% chance to gain additional azurite. That's what it's called. Azurite. That's what I was thinking about. That's the one I've had. Now instead grants sulfuric voltaxic sulfide veins and chests in the map have 15% chance to spawn double sulfide. Okay. Oh, I see what they did. Okay, fair enough. So they basically removed the option to gain the azurite. And you're still able to get the double sulfide. So now you actually have to go to Dell to get it. Well, that makes sense to me, though. That does make sense. Because that was so free like beforehand. The small passives in mounting modifier cluster now grants 5% increased rare monsters in your maps. Previously 3. Okay. That's a buff. Small passive in the Chiseled Perfection cluster now grants 5% increased magic monsters in your map. Previously 3. Good. The small passive Invasive Adversary cluster now grants 1% map pack size. Okay. 4 small passives on the interior of the Atlas tree now grants 2% rarity of items found in your maps instead of effect of explicit. Oh, okay, fair enough. Small passive now grants 5% rarity of item, increased rarity of items found in your map, and 1% increased quantity of. Oh, nice. Okay, that's sick. League changes. Breach League uniques are no longer upgraded from Breach Blessings. Blessings now upgrade Breach Stones. Breach is no longer a reward outcome from other content. Good. The Offline Ember of Kulmak is now unable to substitute it that fled in Keepers of the Flame. Okay. Valdo's puzzle box cannot produce outcomes containing breach lords. Oh, okay, fair enough. Heist. Wait a minute. I just realized something. What about the new Valdo? Okay, so some of the Valdo boxes contains the feared. Does that mean that it contains the new feared then? Because that might be kind of crazy. Heist with which previously could spawn breach now reward breach reward now rooms now spawn gold reward rooms, which drops sizable amount of gold. I like the gold idea for heist. That's thematically that fits really well together. If heist was a place where you could go to grind gold at like an accelerated rate, that would make so much sense to me. You do a heist, you get a bunch of gold, right? Like that makes fucking total sense. Pull a Louvre heist, get away with all the diamonds. You know what I'm saying? Pre-existing breach reward rooms on blueprints will be converted to gold rooms. Okay. Vel breach will be unobtainable during. Oh, okay, but it won't disappear completely, so that's good. Rogues in the Rogue Harbor will now start at their maximum. We know that. Thorthinga gems can now be found as a reward from gem side chests in heists. That makes sense to me, yes. Having like specific gems that are like only found in heist makes sense. Opening a blight, we know that. Characters are now required to have entered Highgate in Act 9 in order to open Safe House at June. Oh, that, you know what, this is a direct like message to one player and one player only. I forget his name. I want to say it was like Venturo or something like that. A Venture or something. I can't exactly remember. But what he did, right? I'll explain it real quick. So he had a high-level character. I'm reading this as this is like this might not be the way it works. I might be misreading this, but so I'm just explaining the situation here. He had a high-level character. It was in the gauntlet, and there was a flash bounty to do something with a new character and get to a certain point, whatever it was. So what he did was, which was absolutely brilliant, new tech that nobody kind of knew about, right? Like he was one of the few people who knew about it. So he used that idea to get a massive benefit by opening up a safe house, killing the dude, and on a high level character. Then instead of executing him then and there, he backed out of the game with the high level character. He jumped on his new character that was level 1. He walked inside that safe house and executed him, since there's no other enemies in there and all you have to do is press a button to execute the guy. He gets all the XP on a level 1 character, and he just goes from level 1 to level 10 in an instantaneous like that. and now he's level 10 and everybody else is level 2. You know what I mean? That was so brilliant. And I respect stuff like that, right? But now it seems like you have to be in Act 9 to enter safe house, if I'm reading this right. I don't know. I might be misunderstanding it. But that was so sick. Syndicate medallions are now more common from higher level betrayal safe houses. That is nice. I did not find a single medallion this entire Mercenaries League. Not one. And I did do quite a bit of safe houses. So that one was really rare. And previously I used to be able to do Katarina all the time. And now I can't even find one medallion to do one Katarina. That's crazy. Given how easy that fight is and how there's not like a whole lot of loot that's insane. There's like the Veil Orbs, right? Oh, no, not Veil Orb, but the fuck are they called, man? The orbs that provide you with the special modifier from the betrayal. I forget the name of them right now. There's two, right? There's a Chaos and an Exalt version. And yeah, that's the only real loot that's like super GG from there. You're now less likely to get high rarity divination cards from chests in betrayal transports. Oh my god. That's a nerf and a half to Mage Blood and to mirrors and stuff. Because that's a lot, like a lot of people get their mirrors on Mage Blood from this specific mechanic right here. Okay. So it's now less likely to grant a high rarity divination card, which drops in a full stack from Garicia's safe houses. So basically, less Mage Bloods and mirrors on the market, I guess. Harvest reforged crafts, which guarantee a certain modifier type, such as reforge a rare item with random modifiers, including a lightning modifier, will now respec modifiers on an item which restrict modifier types, such as cannot roll attack mod. Oh, okay. Interesting. When re-rolling recruits at Rolf in Kingsmarch, workers with expertise in mapping, disenchanting, farming will now have less chance to to have expertise in other job types. That's gonna save so much gold. That's the biggest issue, man. That's literally one of the biggest issues with King's March is you want to get like a farmer and you get like a level 5 farmer and then he's fucking level 4 in mapping and now he just costs like 3,000 gold per hour just because of the mapping. Otherwise he would be costing like 600 gold per hour. That is a massive buff to our gold, honestly. The reroll with high quality recruit option at Ralph now costs 16,000. Oh, nice. That's really good too. Abandoning a commandeered shipment in Kingsmarch now warns you about the loss of crew members. Oh, okay. That should have been like that from the beginning, but okay. Rogue Exile now drop fewer regular items. This does not affect the bonus additional drops of equipment from each slot. Wait a minute. How is that gonna affect? Because that is another mechanic a lot of people have been using to gain like high tier loot. Is the gigantic Rogue Exile ritual strategy. But is this gonna be... is this gonna mess that idea or that strategy up, or is it not gonna be impactful enough to fuck up with, like, gigantic rogue exiles are revived in rituals as Oh, I should have read the next line. Yeah, this is a massive nerf to the Rogue Exile strat, which is a good thing in my opinion, because that has been kind of prevalent in more than one league now, like the past 2-3 leagues. Which, like, Settlers was a year, so it was a year with this shit, basically. You now no longer require to purchase bestiary orbs to itemize your beasts. Right, we know that. We know that. The voices and whispers of delirium encounters are now considered ambient sound rather than sound effect. Good shit. You can now turn that shit way down. Hell yeah. Good shit, good shit, good shit. Drowning orbs no longer drown players faster when they have sources of debuff on you expire. Oh, thank fuck for that. Holy that's a great change. Spell suppression now prevents 40% of damage from suppressed hits. Ouch. That's kind of a big nerf. Oh. Minion attacks now inherently always hit. That's a good change. Removed all sources of minion accuracy from the game, although existing items with minion accuracy modifiers are unchanged, as these modifiers will do nothing. Okay. Sources that specified other rings have been changed to clarify they work with the opposite ring instead. Oh, okay, fair enough. That's way better wording. Skill changes. Oh, here now we start. This is where it's gonna be interesting to see what actually is gonna go down. One moment, let me just resettle how I'm sitting. Okay, Chain Hook of the Thordis now throws chains at up to 8 targets in range. Oh, nice. That's a buff, alright. And has maximum 16 chains, previously 12. That's nice. Now deals 25% more damage at all gem levels. Let's see if that'll be enough to actually bring it up to a point where everybody is going to be wanting to play it. Cyclone now deals 20% more damage. Okay. Maybe we're doing some spin to win this time. Cyclone of Tumult. Oh, that's it. Yeah. Now oh, okay. Fair enough. Both of these are that's decent buffs for sure. Holy shit. Okay. Bladefall now has a base critical strike chance at 10%, previously 6%. That's good. Impaling now has a critical strike chance of 15, previously 10. Okay, that's good. Bladefall of the Thordis now damage has been increased by 50% at all gem levels by 50%. That was underperforming by a lot then. Holy shit, 50% is quite a bit at all gem levels. That's probably why nobody was playing that last league, eh? Now has a base critical strike chance at 10%, previously 6. Oh, this might be interesting with the new Assassin, eh? Bladefall of the Volley now has a base critical crit chance at 10%, previously 6. Oh, okay. Blast Rain of the Thordis base secondary radius is now 4 meters, previously 3.5. Now deals 20% more base fire damage per second at all gem levels. Okay, interesting. Blink Arrow of Prismatic Clones now deal roughly 20% less damage with their elemental arrow. Minion duration is 5 seconds, previously 20 seconds. Wow, that's a massive nerf. Holy shit, okay. Blink Arrow of Bombarding Clones. Clones now deal roughly 33% less damage. Rain out. Oh, ouch. Okay, duration now 5 seconds, previously 20. Wow, that is kind of a lot of. That's a nerf, okay. Bone Shatter now deals 3 to 6% more damage per trauma at gem levels 1 to 20. Before it was 2 to. Okay, that's a bit of a buff there. Convocation now a white gem similar to Detonate Mine and no longer have any attribute requirements. Okay, guess that's really good actually. Dark Pact now has a base critical strike chance on at 7%, previously 5, and now sacrifices 12 skeletons 12% of skeleton life to deal that much chaos damage. Oh, okay, that's actually a pretty decent buff too. Fair enough. Dark Pact of the Brothers now has a base critical strike chance at 7%, previously 5, and now reaching 7 Ruin will sacrifice 50% of your life to deal 500% of sacrificed life as chaos damage for previous. Oh, holy shit, that's a good decent buff too. Elemental Hit has been a base radius. Elemental Hit now has a base radius of 1.4 meters, previously 1, and an attack speed of 120 of base, previously 100. Now has a mana cost of 5 to 8 at gem levels 1 to 20. Alright, that's a decent buff too. Explosive Concoction now has 65 to 800. Okay, that's a nerf. So the fire has been nerfed slightly, the cold has been buffed slightly. Okay, lightning is getting a slight buff. Now has a 120. Okay, that's getting quite a buff too. Fair enough. Explosive Concoctions of Destruction now has added fire damage. Looks like it's the same story down here with the destruction version. Fire slightly nerfed, lightning cold slightly buffed. Exsanguinate now deals 15% more base physical damage per second with physical damage over time debuff. Okay. Exsanguinate of transmission now deals 15% more. Or okay. Flames of Judgment. Granted by a series rule unique staff, now penetrates 50% fire resistance, previously 25. Okay, that's literally a 2x, that's double up. And has a 100% chance to ignite previous. Oh my god, that sounds kind of good. Hex Blast now has 200% more damage with hits if enemies is hexed, previously 150, and 90% more damage with ailment if enemies is hexed, previously 60. That's a decent Hex Blast buff, which is, I jumped on my old Hex Blast build, and I couldn't even kill a regular white monster in the T16 map basically. So it definitely needed quite a buff. A Hex Blast of Contradiction now has 300% more damage with hits if enemies is hexed from 240. 120 damage with elements from 90, that's good. Mirror Error of Prismatic Clone now deals roughly 20% less. Ooh, the brother. We are seeing some sincere bow nerfs here. Mirror Error of Bombarding Clones now deals roughly 33% less damage. Holy shit. Poisonous Concoction now has 22 to 537. Slight nerf. A nerf and a buff. Okay. Poison Concoction of Bouncing is getting a bit of a nerf and then a bit of a buff on the back end there. Okay, that's fair. Pyroclast Mines no longer have an aura that adds fire damage to hits against enemies near them. I did not actually know that had. Okay. They instead now apply an aura that inflicts fire exposure. The effect of exposure scales with effect of auras, but multiple placed mines do not cause the exposure effect to be higher. Alright, okay. Pyroclast Mines now deals 35% more damage at all gem levels. Okay, that's a decent buff there. Fires additional 3 projectile for every 3 prior mines in detonation sequence, previously 4. A slight nerf on that part. Now has 110% effectiveness of added damage, previously 80. Ooh, okay, that's another mine buff right there, but the mines were kind of slagging a little bit. I'm not gonna... Pyroclast Mine of Sabotage now deals 35% more damage at all gem levels. Nice. Fires ejection. Same exact thing as the previous one. Okay. Reap now deals 15% more base physical damage per second with the physical damage over time debuffs. Okay. Shield Crush of the Chieftain now has a mana cost on 7 to 12 at gem level 1 to 20. Okay, that's a little bit of a buff. This node was previously included with the 326 patch notes, but the change was not applied correctly. Ah, alright, okay, I see. Siege Ballista of Thardis now deals 35% more damage. I guess that was needed. Spectral Helix attack speed is now 120% of base, previously 110. Quality now provides projectile that have pierce deals 20% more damage. Okay, that's a buff. Spectral Helix of Thardis. Same deal here. Nice, okay. Spectral Throw. Attack speed is now 120 of base, previously 110. Quality now provides pure. Okay, that's a buff again. Nice. Spectral Throw of the Materializing. Attack speed is now 120 of base, previously 110. Quality now provides pierced enemies deal 20% more damage, same as the previous. Nice. Spectral Throw of the Dardes. Quality now provides... Alright. That's the same as the previous one. Storm Call of the Thrarders now deals 15% more base physical damage per second with a physical damage over time debuff. Good stuff. Good stuff. Storm of Judgment granted by Atziri rule. Atziri's rule unique staff now penetrates 50% lightning resist, previously 25, and have a 100% chance to shock enemies, previously 50. Marker radius is now 2 meters, previously 1.6, and markers are placed in a 6 meter radius, previously 5. Okay, so a decent buff there. Storm Rain of the Fence. Arrows now fire beams every 0.15 seconds, previously 0. Okay, that's a buff. Increase for and each arrow can fire 20 beams, previously 14. Quality provides each arrow with each arrow can fire up to 4 beams. Okay, that's a decent buff to this as well. Storm Rain of the Conduit. Each arrow fires 6 beams, previously 4, and arrows now fire beams every 0.3 seconds. Oh, okay. Quality now provides each arrow fires 2 beams instead of 1. Okay, decent buff on that one as well. Sunder of the Thrarders. Wave can now restart up to 3 times. Okay. Wind Orb now fires projectiles every 1.2 seconds, previously 1.6, and has an 80% more projectile frequency while channeling. Okay, so a bit of a buff and a bit of a nerf at the same time. Okay, okay. That's how you fucking balance your game, man. It's like you change everything constantly. You turn this knob a little bit up, you turn this knob a little bit down, and you keep adjusting until you get the perfect sound, man. That's literally the way to go about it. Volatile Dead Orb Explosion now deals 25% more damage at all GM levels. Now has a 210% effectiveness of damage, of added damage. Oh! Okay, that's not bad at all. Multi-dead of Seething. Explosion orbs now deal same idea. Okay, volatile dead of Confinement. Base explosion radius is now 2 meters instead of 1.5. That's a decent buff as well. Volcanic Fissure of Snaking no longer has 50% more area. Perfect. Fissures will not automatically target enemies hit by the explosion of the previous. Ouch. That's a decent nerf to Volcanic. I was playing Defrost this league. It was okay. It was not the greatest spell, honestly. It's okay, but it's not that good. You know what I mean? And my build was like 400 or 500 divines. So it wasn't like I had bad gear or anything. Voltaic Burst now has a base radius of 2.6 meters instead of 2.2. Okay, so that's a little bit of a buff there. And cast time of 0.4 from 0.5. That's a bit of a buff. Now has a mana cost of 513 and gem levels 1 to 20. Previously it was 6 to 16. Okay, so that's a little bit of a buff too. Vortex of Projection. Now unable to explode from frostbolts. Now unable to explode from frostbolts that will explode from other casts of. Oh, yeah, I see. Right. That makes decent amount of sense. Veil Cyclone now deals 25. Oh, okay, nice. Veil Reap now deals 15% more physical damage per second. Nice. That's basically the same as the previous. Veil Spectral Throw. Attack speed is now 120%. Right, so that's the same as the previous Spectral Throw. Awakened Hex Touch support. Support skills now have a 25 to 23% less curse duration. Okay. Interesting. Corrupting Cry support now deals 15% more base damage. Nice, okay. Energy Leech support no longer has supported skills deal more damage while leeching energy shield. Supported skills now deal 15 to 24% more damage while full energy shield at gem levels 1 to 20. Previously, it was 10 to 14%. What? Oh, right. Okay, it makes sense. I was like, in my head for a second there, I was like, why the fuck would they buff energy shield that much? But yeah, it's... Okay. So this is like, you have to put the percentages a little bit higher because you're not leeching like constantly, right? Like here, you're constantly getting the more damage because you're constantly leeching energy shield, basically. And now you can't leech, get damage while leeching. You're getting damage while you're full energy shield. So yeah, okay, it makes sense to raise the numbers a little bit. Quality now grants supported skills deal 20% increased damage while leeching energy shield. Previously 10. Homie, this change seems crazy. Okay, I don't know. Maybe I'm misreading it or misunderstanding it, but that seems a little bit. That seems almost fucking crazy. That seems like an energy shield buff, honestly. Hex Touch supported skill now have 35 to 26% less curse duration at gem levels 1 to 20. Okay. Rupture support. The Rupture debuff can now stack up to 4 times. Not bad. This skill is actually kind of insane. But yeah. Sadism support. Damaging ailment inflicted with supported skill now deals 60 to 98% faster. Deals damage 60 to 98% faster at gem levels 1 to 20 from 62. Okay, so that's a bit of a buff. Now has 70% less duration of ailment inflicted with supported skill. Previously. Okay, not bad. Spellslinger support. Supported skill now deals 30 to 20% less damage with hits and ailment at gem level 1 to 20. Okay. That's not a bad change either. Bit of a buff. Ascendancy changes. Chieftain. The Nakmahu. Flame the advanced notable ascendancy passive skill now has non-unique duels cause small and notable passives skills in a radius to also grant +4 strength. Okay, a little bit of a buff there. On the champion we have worthy causes notable ascendancy skill now grants banner skills, have 100% increased duration. Okay, a bit of a buff there. We know they changed the assassin, so I'm not gonna go over the assassin part here because we already kind of went over that in a previous video. But the assassin is looking a lot better this league in comparison to previously. Trickster. Now this is gonna be interesting. Let's see how much nerf is here. The Heartstopper notable ascendancy's passive skill now grants every 10 seconds take 50% less damage from hits for 5 seconds. Previously 40. The fuck? Are we buffing Trickster now? And take 50% less damage over time for 5 seconds, previously 40. That's just a buff in general. Fair enough. Soul Drinker Notable Ascendancy passive skill no longer has 20% increased attack speed and cast speed while leeching energy shield. Okay, so that at least is a bit of a nerf. And the Spellbreaker Notable Ascendancy passive skill no longer has plus 20% chance to suppress damage and now has prevent 15% of suppressed damage. Okay. That's interesting. Okay. I still think Trickster and ES is going to be best in slot. I'm not even gonna lie. Maybe not Trickster, but at least ES is gonna definitely be top dog again for sure. The one step ahead notable Ascendancy passive skill now has your action speed is at least 90% of base value, previously 108. Okay. Nearby enemy monsters' action speed is at most 90% of base. Okay. That's a little bit interesting. Gonna have to wait and see how that plays out. On Saboteur, the Clockwork Notable Ascendancy passive skill now grants 40% increased cooldown recovery rate, previously 30, so that's a buff. Okay. Elementalist, the Leech of the Primordial Notable Ascendancy passive skill now provides 50% increased buff effect of buffs granted by your golems. Bit of a nerf there that got cut in half. Actually, I still think that might be really strong, honestly. The whole golem situation in the mercenary, if I remember correctly, there was like a couple of golem bells that was cracked out of their mind. Necromancer Corpses Pact Notable Ascendancy passive skill point now has 4% increased attack speed and cast speed for each corpse consumed recently, up to a maximum of 200%. Previously was 2%. Okay, so a bit of a buff there. Good to see that. Pathfinder, the Master Distiller Notable Ascendancy passive skill now grants bonuses to non-challenging skills you are consuming. 3 charges from flask of each of the following types if possible. Bismuth, penetrate 25% of elemental resistance. That's a bit of a buff, nice. Diamond Flask, 250% increased critical strike chance. Wow, that is a nice buff. Amethyst Flask, 37% of physical damage as extra chaos damage. Wow, okay. That's okay. That's just a handful of buffs there. Warden, the lesson of the season's notable ascendancy passive skill now has prevent 3% of spell suppressed damage per barg below maximum from 2%. Okay, buff. Burskin, granted by the Mothers of Teaching notable passive skill, no longer has mana reservation. That's just a buff. Passive skill tree changes. Remove the accuracy mastery that granted minion accuracy rating is equal to yours. Replace the minion offensive mastery that grants 250% accuracy rating with minions have 20% increased cooldown recovery rate. Okay. The gray passive tree cluster now grants chaos resistance instead of minion accuracy. Good shit. Unique item changes. The ash color unique wand is now found on goat's horn bases. Previously carved ones. Okay. The ellipse Solaris unique wand is now found on the Faun's horn base type, previously engraved wand. Now provides 20 to 26% increased attack speed, previously 6 to 10, 15 to 20% increased light radius. Okay, and now has adds 2 to 5 fire damage per attack for every 1% of your light radius above value. Okay. Existing versions of this item can be updated to the new attack speed and light radius values with a divine orb. Fair enough. The Glorious Madness buff from the Beacon of Madness unique boots embrace madness skills now inflicts a random torched debuff every 2 seconds, previously every second. Alright. The Hina Sight unique amulet now prevents 4 to 6% of spell suppressed damage, previously 3. Alright, existing versions of this item. Right. The Midnight Bargaining unique wand is now found on the Calling Wand base instead of engraved. The Moon Sorrow unique wand is now found on a kinetic base, previously an imbued wand. Alright. The Nebulous unique scepter now grants 5 to 10% increased elemental damage per 1% fire, lightning, cold resistance above 75. A bit of a nerf. It also now grants 160 to 120 increased magnitude of... Okay, fair enough. The Obliterator unique wand is now found on an Omen wand base type instead of imbued. The replica Midnight Bargain unique is now found on the Sealing wands instead of engraved. Replica Nibulus Scepter now grants... we already seen that. Oh, actually a bit of a buff, but the Replica Twistle unique wand now has 110 to 170% increased physical damage. The Pristicator Vigil unique wand is now found on a kinetic wand base type, previously an imbued. Okay. The Poet Pen unique wand is now found on the Somatic base type, wand base type. Okay. So just a bunch of like swap arounds here. The Void Spawn minion summoned by the Seventh of Decay unique body armor now deals roughly 100% more damage and now have combined life and energy shield 3 times their previous total values. Okay, buff it. Oh, the Wine of the Prophet unique flask, the Doctor buff, now displays as granting stolen rare modifiers for 60 seconds. Oh, so that's just a okay. Fair enough. They put it at they said it was 20 seconds, but it was actually 60 seconds. Now they just changed it so it actually fits what it is. Fair enough. The Whispers of Infinity unique amulet now has plus 50 to 100 maximum energy. That's a massive nerf. Existing items can be made worse with a divine orb. Jesus Christ, what a fucking nerf. That's literally like a fucking 400% nerf. Holy shit. From 400 down to 100, that's flat energy shield. That's actually, that's kind of crazy. Still, even though, honestly, even though it's only granting 100 flat, this amulet is still gonna be insanely good. There's no way around that. That amulet, and that just, it's so good. Item changes. Fear Essence of the Fear now grants increased minion damage on helmets from increased act. Oh, okay, lovely. Good change there. Runegraft of the Recompense has been renamed to Runegraft of the Refraction. It no longer grants recover life. Recover 10% of life. No longer grants recover 10% of skill mana cost per unspent chain when projectiles end. Up to 50%. And now instead grants fire at most one projectile skill chain plus 1 times. And projectile fork. Okay. Alright. Redeemer amulets can now be re-rolled to prevent spell suppress 3 to 5% from 2%. Existing versions can be updated by using a divine warp. You can no longer obtain rings in Delve that have what? You can no longer obtain rings in Delve that have the curse skill have increased skill effect duration modifier. Okay, was that really a problem? That was something happening here that I'm not entirely sure what this what this impact will have on the game. The carved wand, engraved wand, imbued wand bases can no longer be obtained. Existing items are not affected by this change. Lovely. Accumulator wand, assembler wand, and congregator wand now has a base critical strike chance of 8.5. Okay. Sealing wand, conventing wand, convoking wand now has a base crit of 8% from previously 8.3. Okay. Coiled crystal, goatshorn, opal quartz, spiraled tornado wands now have a base critical strike chance of 8, previously 9. Demon horn now has a base critical strike chance of 8, previously 9.5. Oh, so this is just a bunch of crit chance nerf, no? Yeah. To all of these bases. Oh, that's got buffed a little bit. So hollow point dagger, pneumatic dagger, pressurized dagger has gotten buffed slightly. Same goes for prong dagger, sai. Now has 5 8.5%, previously 8%. And okay, these also got a little bit of a buff. And so the daggers are getting a bit of a buff, the wands are getting a bit of a nerf. More buff to daggers. More buff to daggers down here. Modifiers on highest rogue gear that granted increased experience gain for the equipped rogue no longer can roll, though existing mods will not be removed. They just aren't very useful anymore. Makes sense. Ruthless specific changes. All right. Not that this matters to me really, but let's just check them out to make. Oh, okay. They're just changing. Fair enough. They're changing the Pathfinder to match up with the non-ruthless version. That's fair. Monster changes. Refractored. How monsters with physical damage converted to elemental damage scale with monster modifiers and map modifiers that grants physical damage gained as extra element. In general, these modifiers will have far less effect on higher level monsters that converted most all of their physical damage to a specific element. Okay. Adjusted the Incarnation of Dread, Incarnation of Fear, and Incarnation of Neglect boss fights, generally resulting in less life, but more damage or debuff potency. Okay. So the bosses will have less life, but the damage will be more potent. That is interesting, because I already felt like they did not have a whole lot of life. They died super, super fast. We're just gonna have to wait and see how that plays. The detonation speed of most monster volatile cores can no longer scale with attack speed or cast speed. Additional, the ability for some sources of volatile cores to ignore block, evasion, and spell suppression has been removed. Volatile cores from the tier 17 modifiers and specific ritual monsters have also had their damage reduced. That is a brilliant. This is such a good change. That is a it's a minute change, but it changes. You don't even understand how annoying it is when you are fucking getting hunted down by 600,000 volatile cores, and there's so much increased attack speed and cast speed on the map that they blow up immediately, like they instantaneously. It's super fucking hard to evade that shit, and then the splash damage on top of it. Oh my god, that's such a good change. Malachi the Nightmare should now more reliably remove the invulnerable visuals from his life bar when he becomes targeted between phases. Alright. Improve the visual and audio of the non-death effect on vibrant gargoyles. Okay. What do we have here? Curic League modifiers. A bit now cost 3 chaos, previously 5. Oh, I see what they did here. They cut the cost a little bit, but then cut the reward a little bit too. So you're gaining a little bit less additional abysses. You'll only get 2 instead of 3, but it also cost like equal amount less basically. Ambush now cost 4 previously. So they raised the price for strong boxes, but they also raised the number of strong boxes. Oof. Okay. Anarchy. now cost 4, so a bit of a nerf to the cost. But they chopped that in half. Woo. 4 additional Rogue Exiles, previously 7. God damn. Well, that was a nerf. Good shit. Domination now costs 4, previously 3. Causes to attain. Oh, nice. That is actually a nice buff. Hell yeah. Heists now cost 5, previously 6. Nothing else changed, just made it cheaper. Legion now costs 3, previously 7. 1 addition. Wow. Oh, that's kind of a buff. Because it became a lot cheaper now. It's both. It's buff and a nerf and the same. Settlers now cost 5, previously 3. Causes 2 additional ores instead of 1. Makes sense. Torment now costs 2 instead of 4. Causes 4 additional spirits, previously 8. So that got cut in half, alright? The price got cut in half, but okay, the outcome. The breach and imbued breach map device crafting option has been removed, obviously. Added an imbued heist map device crafting option, which will cause the area to contain 5 additional smuggler's catches. Alright. Alright. Kinetic Rain. Quest reward changes. Kinetic Rain can be purchased from Nessa by the Witch, Shadow, and Scion upon completing the Siren's Cadence. Kinetic Fusillade can be purchased from Nessa by the Witch, Shadow, and Scion. Right. Thunderstorm is offered to Rangers and Duelists completing the Scion. Okay. Alright. Can be purchased from Nessa by the Shadow and Scion. Fair enough. Living Light support is now offered to Witch for completing Sharp and Cruel. And can be purchased from Yana by Templars and Scions. Fair enough. Kinetic Instability is now offered to Witch for completing Sharp and Cruel. Can now be purchased from Yana by Shadow and Scion. Wall of Force is now offered to Witch for completing Black. And can get purchased from Yana by the Scion and the Shadow. Windburst is now offered to the Duelist and Ranger for completing a Fixture of Fate. Okay. And can be purchased from Clarissa by Shadow and Scion. Conflagration is now offered to Ranger for completing Server the Right Hand. Sever the Right Hand, sorry. Somatic Shell is now offered to Witch for completing Sever the Right Hand and can be purchased from Clarissa by the Templar, Shadow, and Scion. Interesting. User interface changes. Added an option in gameplay settings to prevent the game from pausing during gameplay. Alright. Not sure what that actually would do. Added an indicator to your current chromatic dust to the recombinator. Oh, so I can see how much. Ah, that's actually a great change. While using an orb of alteration, you can now hold Alt to swap to using an orb of augmentation. If one is available in your inventory or stash, presuming you are in an area with access to stash, right? Of course. When multiple gems are able to level up, there's no button to level all. We saw that, yes. Okay. You can now access. We saw that. Added an icon to. We saw that. Skill gems traded to other players via the trade window now have their level up dismissed. And attack in place properties reset. Oh, okay, I see. Ah, that's actually brilliant. Okay, that's actually a great change. Okay. So basically, like if you traded a gem and the gem was level 1 and you had set it so it couldn't level up, apparently it looks like that if you traded that gem, then the fact that you had put it to where it wouldn't it can't level up, it stays at level 1. When you traded that, apparently it looks like it would stay like that. So the guy who got the gem now wouldn't get the level up notification on the side because you had set it to like not wanting to level it. Yeah, I think that's a good change. Reorder the list of currency items types in the item node editor. Reordered the list of currency items types in the item node editor. Not sure what that means. The cursor size UI option has been changed to a slider. Yes! Oh, that's so good. Fuck, nice. All right, what's the access port? The portal access option is now accessible when using a controller within your hideout stash. Okay. Increase the size of the resistance icons for bosses when playing on a controller. Sounds good. Improve the management of cache files on console to avoid running out of temporary storage space. This should fix issues with the minimap being reset on leaving or re-entering an area and with loot filters failing to load. So this has been been quite an issue on PoE 2 as well. I wonder if this is gonna have some kind of effect on that. Okay, so this is just bug fixes. I'm not gonna go over the bug fixes. If you wanna like check out the bug fixes yourself, you're very welcome to. It's not like there's like a whole lot. Oh, there is another update here with some spoilers, so this is the time to click away. Evolving shrines from the domination scarab of evolution now reduces the chance for monsters to upgrade. Oh, well, that ain't new, guys. We already read that. But yeah, I like this. There's a lot of good stuff here. And I'm not gonna lie, I had kind of said to myself I wasn't gonna spend any more money on microtransactions. I might just have to fucking buy this set, I'm not gonna lie. This is so fucking sick. This is like one of the sickest things I've seen. And the green and purple is like some of my favorite colors. So, yeah, I don't see a world where I don't get this. I kind of have to. But yeah, super sick outfit. Kind of looking forward to that one. It's gonna be interesting to see. As of right now, looking through those patch notes, it did not seem like they were going to super nerf everything, right? So I kind of think that we might actually. It kind of, honestly, it kind of looked like we would be able to play the occultist again. I might just do that. You just have to wait and see. But I might just play this again, because it's such a good fucking build. It's just so good. And although we're getting a bit of a nerf to the overall flat ES we're getting out of Whispers, it still doesn't really change the fact that having the energy shield cost instead of mana and life is gonna be stupid insane still. We're just now gonna have to focus a little bit more on more flat energy shield from other pieces of gear, but Jesus Christ, like there's plenty of room for more energy. Like I can probably push more energy shield out of the rings and stuff, right? Stack some intelligence, more intelligence than or something else, right? Like there's other ways to go around it. But yeah, man, fucking impressive league so far in terms of what they have written. I'm looking forward to this one. Still not entirely sure what I'm gonna play. I kind of want to play something I haven't played yet, but I don't know. I haven't really made that decision yet on what to do, what to not do. I'm gonna have to kind of like wait a little bit to see a little bit more, because they tend to put out more patch notes every day, slowly, until like the full league starts. So we might see some more buffs, some more nerfs to certain things as more and more people come up with ideas for builds, and as they are looking out to see if there's people coming up with something that seems utter broken. You never know. If somebody comes up with something completely outrageous, they might just decide to nerf it preemptively and not have like, you know, not let it like be active in a league first and then nerf it. They might nerf it, pre-nerf it, just because you can tell with POB if it's like really extreme or like over the top, right? But overall, as of right now, 9 out of 10 update, honestly. 9 out of 10 update so far. Of course, we'll still have to play it and like feel it out and check whatever build we're gonna play and get to the real endgame and stuff before I can really put down my true like feeling on what I think this league is gonna be in terms of rating. But impressive, very impressive. I am looking forward to this. I hope you're all having a good day, good evening, whatever it might be for you. As always, I will catch you all in the next one. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, all the good jazz, and have a good one.